skills. I have finished processing all my apples. I have not determined yet whether I will go back for more. It might depend on whether or not Mark brings some salmon home and how much of it he brings home. Hopefully we will be canning salmon up pretty shortly, and if we do, I'll definitely be doing a video on that. But today I wanted to probably touch on a few things that I've been kind of ignoring for a while. Sometimes you just have to back away from all these world events that are distressing and just take a break from it all. But yeah, there are interesting things going on. A sabotaged gas pipeline. It's been determined that it has been sabotaged, at least that's what we're being told. Who would do that and why they would do that is still a mystery, because apparently that pipeline was not moving gas from one country to another at this point. So hard to say why that would occur, whether it's just to prevent it from going forward or whatever the case is. We know that Canada had repaired a part for that pipeline, and they did ship it to Germany, and there was an uproar for them having done that. There were those that felt that it should not have been sent to them, but it was, and apparently to no avail, because the pipeline is still non-operational at this point. Europe is definitely in trouble this winter. Don't know what their resolution is going to be as far as home heating. Winter's coming. I mean, it's one thing over the summer not to have energy, but the winter, it's another story. Now, I know that Europe does not get as cold as Canada, but it still gets cold. And yeah, so what are they going to do? I'm sure that there are countries that are going to sell them fuel at whatever price they would choose to set, or whatever they think they can get away with. So Europe is in trouble. On the other hand, Italy. Now, I'm from Italy. I was born there, never been back. But my understanding is that it is a socialist country, has always been socialist. That is my understanding. Whether it's factual or not, I don't know. But apparently they have just elected a female right-wing leader, which is quite the change for Italy. And I don't know how long that one's going to last, but we'll see what happens. And yeah, I mentioned it to Mark, and he said, yep, people are getting totally fed up with current situation and are going the other way. So see what happens. Okay, so that's Italy. We'll have to keep an eye on them. And Russia. All these young men leaving in droves. And one thing I did see that I found very, very interesting was a mother who was fighting back, saying she didn't care, that children were the greatest treasure, and she wasn't about to willingly give up her children for somebody else's war. And you're finding, and I'm finding, which is interesting, you're finding that people just do not support wars anymore. At least not where children are sent off. Maybe economical wars and other kinds, or technological wars, or the new method of trying to gain ascendancy, I guess is the word. Gain power, gain control. But they're not, most countries are no longer willing to send their children out. Russia apparently still is, but there's a great backlash against that, which is interesting. And my personal belief, will never end wars until mothers rise up. They're the only, well, that young men refuse to go to war, and that mothers rise up and refuse to allow them to go to war or send them to war, and they fight back against those that would conscript them. It's happening, but these regimes are brutal. And there's no denying that Russia's in it to win. There's no denying. They will do whatever it takes to win this war. And I'm not going to comment on who's in the right and who's in the wrong. Bottom line is, war is wrong, period. There will come a day when wars will end. How long that's going to be, when that's going to be, who's going to end it. It's hard to say. But until that day, do our best to raise children with virtues, morals, scruples, in a world that has gone crazy and values the rights of criminals over the rights of the innocent. All that has got to come to an end. It's out of control, and nobody seems to care until it affects them. So I say, let it affect them. Let them all feel what they would impose on you. If they want to go to war, let their children go to war first. Let them be the leaders in that respect. I think that's the way it used to be. If a leader wanted to go to war, he was in the thick of it. He may have been protected, but he was still in the thick of it. So, let the leaders be in their own wars. So what's going on here at home? 2 devastating storms. One in the east coast of Canada and the other one in Florida. And both are probably some of the worst storms that we've seen in years. And sorry, I don't know if you can blame it all on global warming. I just am not a global warming fan. I can't blame everything on that. My attitude is, living in Canada, let global warming happen. I would love some warm air here. So I'm not a fan of blaming everything on global warming and what we can and can't do. I think it is more of an issue of how can I phrase this? The discontent in the world is affecting every aspect of this world. The crime, the corruption, the perversity that is allowed to go on without recourse, without prevention. I think that all of that helps to, I think the world's a lot more integrated and one whole than what people want to believe. They think they can segregate, and what happens here doesn't affect us there, but that's not true. Never has been true. What happens in one spot affects everyone. If one person dies, it affects the whole world. So just imagine if one country's in trouble, it affects the whole world. And I'm of the belief that it also can affect the environment. I think everything is intertwined. You'll see that when society tries to find unity, the world will change. At this point, it's tearing itself apart. And the world is obliging. This is how civilizations collapse, but when you have the whole world's civilization collapsing, it's kind of catastrophic. I don't think we've ever, well, it likely has occurred. More than likely, civilizations have come and gone for millions of years on this planet, even though there's no trace of past ones. And what are we going to do? Are we going to just, I don't think we'll ever destroy ourselves completely, but civilization can collapse. I don't think it will. I think we'll pull back, perhaps just in the nick of time. But perhaps we're there already and it's time to pull back, and we have to find leaders that will do so. Anyway, this isn't to scare anybody, because there's so much that is out of our control. But we always have to remember that one person can change the world. One person can start the domino effect that can make huge changes. I don't know who that person's going to be. I'm sure that there are people who think that the return of Christ, yes, that could do it. Anyway, looking forward to that process beginning. It's time. Anyway, this is Tony from her Homestead Skills. Probably a little bit different video than usual, but that happens on occasion. Anyway, hope to catch you on the next one. Bye for now.